Hey guys, Fred here, welcoming you to my Money in the Bank 2014 predictions video, and as I said in my announcement video last week, this is the last time you'll be seeing a predictions video from me in this form, so hope you like it while it's still here. Now, one thing I want to point out as a form of substance for this is that I haven't watched WWE live in under a month, basically. I've been taking some time off from it, preparing for the CC Network launch, preparing other things, and overall it was mostly because the TV product has been quite bad, and I think a lot of you can agree with me on that. Watching Raw from week to week has become quite tiresome, and especially for a person like me, living in the UK, staying up from 1 till 4 in the morning on a Monday to watch this is really quite difficult to do. So I said to myself, I'm not going to bother, but I said I'm coming back for Money in the Bank because the pay-per-view product's been the opposite. Apart from the Royal Rumble, of course, in some cases, the pay-per-view product this year has been wonderfully good to watch. I've really enjoyed it. In fact, this is probably the highest average pay-per-view calendar we've had as a year has gone by for quite a while so far. So I'm hoping Money in the Bank can continue the trend. Now, let's get on with it then, the predictions. First off, we have the Money in the Bank kickoff, which doesn't have a match this time. It's a half-an-hour Q&A session with Daniel Bryan. Now, there is, at the moment, some uncertainty regarding one individual in the Money in the Bank ladder match, and people have been suggesting that maybe Daniel Bryan come in. I don't think he's going to be announced as any form of participant. I don't think he's going to be involved in anything. I mean, maybe Triple H gets in his face backstage. All I can see is just Daniel Bryan airing his frustrations and kind of making himself over in the time being while he is out, because they need to kind of keep people conscious that Daniel Bryan is still around. I mean, you can't do a Stone Cold Steve Austin being hit by a car incident where you don't have him anywhere on television for quite a while. In fact, he only appeared at Backlash months later, so you think about that for a second. They've done this quite liberally. He suffered a bad injury, but they're trying to remind people that he's on TV. I mean, people just have short attention spans nowadays, and I can see this being a good reason for it. I mean, also, talking about Breeze firing, yada yada yada. I mean, there's a lot of stuff he could talk about here, and possibly who he thinks is going to win these matches, and all that. I don't really know what they're going to do with Bryan in this show, but overall, I think it should be quite interesting to see what happens. This is a pre-show everyone's going to watch, because you can't complain about midget matches now, can you? No. First, we have Paige versus Naomi for the Divas Championship. Now, I, of course, don't know where this has come from. Again, I haven't touched Raw or SmackDown or anything in the last month, so I don't really know what has made this happen, but I do know one important thing. There's a rumour going around on the dirt sheets that Vince McMahon is not very high on Paige, and that's why she hasn't been appearing on television a lot recently. And I'm annoyed, because Paige is a good wrestler, but I have to say she needs more reason to be here. I mean, sure, she's the Divas Champion, but she needs character. She hasn't got it. And the one thing I remember is that it was going to be Naomi versus AJ Elimination Chamber, where effectively she was going to win the title right there, or come close to winning the title, leading up to the Tamina AJ match at WrestleMania, which we of course didn't see. So I can't really wait to see what happens with this one. Are WWE going to take the title off of Paige, or are they going to just basically keep her around and say, look, she's a good in-ring talent that people like and they're paying attention to, even when she's not on television. So we've got to do something with it. Which kind of puts me in a bit of a corner here, because I really think they would take the title off her. If Vince McMahon isn't happy, then you got to please the boss, so you're going to get fired, is pretty much the mantra I'm going for here. But honestly, I look at it and go, you can't take the title off Paige when she hasn't really been on television to do anything. I mean, I would have rather have seen Alicia Fox do it. But then maybe that could be building up to a Battleground match or even a SummerSlam where it inevitably does happen. So overall, it could be a good thing either way. So thinking about it that way, Paige will keep the title, but I'm guessing only just. Next, Big E Langston, or Big E, I've got to stop saying that, Big E versus Rusev. Once again, now this is simple. Rusev has got to lose. He's got to lose. I'm sure I would have liked it if Rusev and Big E were in a main big gimmick match of some kind, but this is the Money in the Bank pay-per-view, so it ain't going to happen. I would have liked, actually, if they end up replacing one person in particular, who I will mention when I get to the match, with one of these two, depending on who wins the match. That would be quite interesting. Honestly, it's going to be Big E who wins it. I can't see Rusev doing it. I mean, it's a return match that's going to allow the face to get some good stuff. Also, the fans haven't been accepting of Rusev, so I can really see just them saying, thank God, can we just get this over with so Big E can move on and we can just not give a crap about Rusev? I mean, that's pretty much what the fans are thinking, so I'm guessing they're going to do it. So yeah, I'm going to say Big E for the win here. It'll be all good. Now, Summer Rae versus Layla with Fandango as the special guest ref. Now, people often say, oh, this is another Divas match to go for the toilet break. We'll have 2 toilet breaks on this pay-per-view. Hooray! Let me tell you something. I'm actually looking forward to this, because this is actually a Divas match with a bit of story to it. Who would have thunk it? There's a Divas match with a storyline. Sure, it's a romantic breakup storyline, but still, it's a storyline. That's something we can all be happy about, right? Now, obviously, the deck is stacked firmly against Summer Rae, because of course Layla and Fandango are in a relationship currently, and they're probably going to make an entrance together, which wouldn't be the most impartial thing to do, mind you. So honestly, I'm going to say right here, Summer Rae wins. It's typical Wrestling 101. If the deck is stacked against you, you are going to have the face win. It's just how it is. If anyone can say otherwise, please do say so in the comment section. Because overall, it just makes sense for Summer Rae to get victory, even though I still don't consider her that much of a face. Then again, I don't watch Total Divas, so I have no idea where this can even fit in. So Summer Rae for the win here. Now, this next match is rather interesting. We have Ryback versus Golden Stardust. Oh man, the Stardust gimmick has made me laugh. That's one of the things I have caught up on. This is quite fun, because yeah, who is weaker in the team? Is it me? I could say it's me, but actually, you know what? I'm going to highlight that it is you, Goldust, by saying, yeah, I'm going to take up your persona and show, yeah, that even anyone could take up your persona and make you look like crap. It's a fantastic idea. I mean, that's probably what's going to happen in the future. But when you look at it, the Rhodes Brothers are back together and we can all be happy as hell. So, I really am happy for this. And it's cool that, like many classic teams, they have matching attires. So, some classic fans are going to be happy with that. Ryback, they're not going to win. I'm going to say it right here, they're not going to win. If you think about it, you've recently introduced a new character for Cody Rhodes who is slowly making it over and getting over even more like he does with most gimmicks he has. And honestly, sure, the Xavier Woods and R-Truth wins on main event, which have happened recently for Ryback, that's not big. You want to go somewhere? Beat these guys. But unfortunately, that ain't going to happen. So, Ryback, you're going to lose, and your downfall will continue. It just seems obvious that you wouldn't put down Stardust that quickly. I mean, you need to give it time to really get into people's minds first, then you pull the swerve which we're waiting for. So, all's well and good. Next, the title match that I'm looking forward to outside of the 2 main matches, which is, of course, the Usos versus the Wyatt family, Rowan and Harper, and I am looking forward to this because this is going to be a very good match. These guys have been at each other's throats since the Cena introduced them with each other. This has been a good idea. You're putting the Wyatt family, who need gold around their waists, against a really good top team, and overall, I've been waiting for this for months. I was amazed this didn't happen a couple months back. But then again, they've held it off for this. It actually means we're going to get a really good match. That I'm guessing this one's going to open the show. If it does, hallelujah. Or maybe it's one of the Money in the Bank matches going to open the show. I have no bloody clue at this point, but I'm guessing this would be a great thing to start. And then have one of the Money in the Bank matches in the middle. Or maybe even have this in the middle of the card. Who knows at this point, folks? But the one thing I can say in regards to this is the perfect opportunity for Rowan and Harper to win belts. Because the one thing I've said about factions in the past is that you need to give them gold to solidify themselves. That's one of the things I loved about the Shield. You had them dominate for a little while, and then you gave them some opportunity with gold, and they got it. That's what I loved about it. And the same with Evolution. The same in the end with D-Generation X in their secondary or third run, and then of course their first run was just decorated with it thanks to the Road Dogs and X-Pac, etc. Honestly, in the case of this, the Usos, they've had a good run. I mean, sure, they've only held it for 4 months. They've done alright with it. They've had some good feuds, but they haven't had actually that many title defenses. So I'd like to see something happen. Bray, of course, his team needs something. I mean, Bray's been in this huge feud with John Cena, and these guys haven't really been doing much apart from being his lackeys. So You know, if I was anyone with a brain, I'd be thinking, you know what, we need to make sure people remember that not just Bray is pretty damn good, but his associates are too. I mean, Harper is a damn good wrestler, and even though he overshadows Rowan a bunch, they make a bloody good tag team. In singles competition, they don't win very much, but in tag team competitions, they need to do more. So to have them win here would be great. And not to mention, it would also say, well, my followers, they've worked hard, and it shows that hard work pays off. That's exactly the kind of thing that against Cena, he's saying, oh, he gets everything handed to him on a plate, that everything happens. In the case of him, his associates for over a year now have been working their asses off, and they're pretty much getting their reward. It's a lot of hard work to do it, but they're getting it. So overall, I would say it. Give the Usos have got a good run, and they could make some really good matches over the next couple of months. Give the Wyatt family members the titles. Not just that, if you give them the titles, then Stardust and Goldust can go against them, and even more great things are going to happen. It's only a good positive from there. The Usos, I'm sorry, you are a great team, but you're going to have to lose these belts and have to reclaim them another time. It's going to have to be done. It has to be. Harper and Rowan are leaving Money in the Bank with the tag belts. It's going to happen. If it doesn't, I'll be pleasantly surprised. Now, we get on to the two biggest matches of this event. And they, of course, are the Money in the Bank matches. First, for the main Money in the Bank contract, which we didn't think was going to happen, but well, luckily it now is. With Kofi Kingston, Jack Swagger, Dean Ambrose, Seth Rollins, and RVD, if I'm not mistaken. And of course, Bad News Barrett. Now, the one thing I want to point out about Bad News Barrett is he may not be in this match, because he's apparently his shoulder popped out of its socket during the match on SmackDown this past week. And honestly, I'd be saddened if Bad News Barrett couldn't make this match. I really would be saddened if he couldn't make it, because this is another big push he's been on, and it's been derailed before Money in the Bank, mind you, when he was bound to win it with a huge injury. Now, I'm hoping it's just a dislocated shoulder, and he just needed a couple of days rest to wear it back in his shoulder socket, and then he'll be okay to only take a few stiff bumps every now and again. But of course, that may not be the case. I would like to say that he would be able to do well, but who really knows at this point? So, Wade Barrett was one of my favourites for this, and now I'm really unsure whether he's going to be in it, so I'll leave him on the side. And like I said, if Big E or Rusev end up joining in, they might be okay with that. Let's see the rest of these guys. With Jack Swagger, he doesn't really have a chance. I just see him as being a nice big guy to fill out where all these lighter guys are in there. Because this match is full of light guys. You've got Kofi, Ziggler, Ambrose, Rollins. I mean, hell, Bad News Barrett was the only other big guy in there that could really balance this out. So, honestly, in my eyes, I'd be thinking, okay, just have a big guy in there. But he's only going to be there to differentiate the power and add a different form of pace to the match. RVD, former Money in the Bank winner, I don't think he's going to win. He's just going to be there as a spot monkey. Now, of course, the same could be said for Dolph Ziggler. But then again, Dolph Ziggler is over. It doesn't seem like it by his match results, but he's over. So, yeah, what do you do with this? Because obviously, WWE have liked to do this kind of thing, where they put them down so much that people lose all hope that they're ever going to make it somewhere big, and then they manage to somehow get this giant, huge victory out of nowhere. That's what made Daniel Bryan's cash in of the Money in the Bank his time round even better. Hell, it's what made his lead up to Money in the Bank 2011 so good, because people didn't really think he had a chance in hell, even though he was over. So, honestly, in the case of this, I think Dolph Ziggler has a very, very good chance here. Kofi Kingston, I would love to see him win, but it just wouldn't be right for him now, would it? I wouldn't want him to win at this point. It just doesn't seem like he will. He's worked his arse off, he's won every title he can, he's done everything. But he hasn't yet reached the big time. I'm guessing he's going to do something even more amazing with a table or a ladder or something random like he does in every single match he's in right now. But it's not going to be for him. Now we get down to the former Shield members. Rollins and Ambrose, the two who many people consider favourites. Now, basing on the idea of who's going to win the main WWE World Championship match, you've got to think to yourself, who the hell is going to win this one? Now, I know I've just mentioned it's probably going to be Barrett, if he's in it, or it's going to be Ziggler, or one of these two. Now, honestly, with Ambrose, I would love to see Ambrose win. The story behind it would make so much sense psychologically, that he got put in at Rollins' insistence, that they didn't want to include him in to make it looked like Rollins was going to win this thing and go and progress forward with title success. But of course, putting Ambrose into this not only means that Rollins has someone he has to take out, but also, if he wins, it'll be amazing. Because if people go, wow, okay, he just got entered in the match at Rollins' discrepancy and has won it under his nose. It would be fantastic. Not to mention, imagine all those damn promos we're going to see. Oh God, that's making me so happy. Not just that, but I'd love to see Ambrose win because if, and this is a big if, Reigns comes out with the title, it'll be another slap in the face of the Authority. But of course, the Authority, since the Rollins turn, has been made to look very strong indeed. And it would be a good thing to reinforce that strength after months of being battered and beaten up by the Shield and Daniel Bryan and the like. They want to get some victory in there. And if a face does win the main match, then it's going to have to be a heel. And the only heel I could see winning outside of Rollins is Barrett, and we don't even know if he's in it. So for me, I'm going to have to go for Seth Rollins here. I would love to say Ambrose, but in the balance of things, it's going to have to be. It has to be Seth Rollins winning this match. And I would love to see Ambrose win the title off him. Now, I know some people, I think Good Mike Work mentioned that it wouldn't be right to see both of these guys fighting over a briefcase. They should just fight against each other. But the one thing about having the briefcase in this feud, if it inevitably does become so, would add so much more. Especially if you think about it, if they have a match at Battleground which Seth Rollins wins via interference, they could have this steel cage or some kind of hardcore match where Ambrose could finally win that briefcase and then probably cash in later in the evening if something terrible happens. You know what I mean? It gives a bit of more intensity and a bit more intrigue to that, even though people are going to love it nonetheless because it's Ambrose v Rollins. People are going to go mental over it nonetheless. But overall, for this Money in the Bank match, I'm going to have to give it to Rollins, but there's a sneaking suspicion that Ambrose could. But if Barrett's not going to win it, it's going to be Ambrose. Not Ambrose, but Rollins. It's going to be either Ziggler, Barrett, if he's in, Rollins or Ambrose, but my pick is Rollins, no doubt. And finally, ladies and gentlemen, the WWE World Heavyweight Championship Money in the Bank, which consists of many of the big talents in the last couple of years, many of the big talents of about 10 years ago, and new faces. We have Kane, John Cena, Randy Orton, Sheamus, Alberto Del Rio, Bray Wyatt, Cesaro, and Roman Reigns. This is going to be a very good match. Simple as, I mean, sure. We have 2 Money in the Bank matches on the card again, which people thought was never going to happen. But this is not just a normal Money in the Bank match. This is for the title. This is for the championship. This is going to be entertaining because of the tension around who is going to win, what kind of big spots are going to happen, yada, yada, yada. So, looking at each person individually, how are they going to do? Now, Kane obviously got put in this past week at the commission of Triple H. Because, of course, you need another Authority member in there. And, of course, is he going to win? No. Kane, for me, is going to be nowhere near this. He's going to create some big spots and probably duke it out with Sheamus, but probably not much else. Alberto Del Rio, I can probably see 1 or 2 good spots, because this guy is one of the lighter people. Hell, he is the lightest person in this match. I said in the last match, you've mostly got light people with 1 or 2 big guys to buff it out. This is the complete opposite. Del Rio is in there for some spot making, and probably to add more pace, as I've mentioned. He is not going to win this for a second time, not for me. Sheamus, he's the US champion. I really don't think he's going to do it either. Mostly because people just aren't connecting with him. People don't like him. He's effectively a heel. And honestly, I don't really like the idea of Sheamus winning this either. I mean, sure, if he has King of the Ring, Money in the Bank, and the Royal Rumble, he'll win the holy triple crown of outside title accomplishments, which, based on my recollection, only Edge has done. If you can correct me on that, please do so in the comments section. But just to me, I don't think Sheamus has a chance in hell at getting this. Just saying. I would love to see Cesaro do it, to set up the Brock Lesnar match in the future, which, if it's Paul Heyman guy versus Paul Heyman guy, that would be fantastic. But of course, Cesaro is still being placed as a heel no matter how over he is, and overall, he's going to have to turn face sometime, and I can see that in a team of Paul Heyman guys versus another team at Survivor Series. He already quit on a team partner in a team match before at WrestleMania, so I would like to see him turn on Heyman at Survivor Series in the future if I'm thinking that far ahead. So Cesaro will get some chances, a big swing, oh god. It's dangerous as hell, but a big swing off a ladder, that would be amazing. That would be phenomenal. Hey, even doing a massive ginormous slam off the ladder would be amazing. So I can see Cesaro doing quite well, but not winning. Bray Wyatt. Now, he is a lot of people's favourites, and after the feud with Cena, you know, it's going to be out of nowhere if he does do it, and especially if the tag titles are won by Harper and Rowan, it'd be great to say, oh, after that setback, the Wyatt family are back with more poise and more composure. But overall, I just don't see Wyatt doing this, you know? I mean, it wouldn't really fit. You know, I always like the idea of, okay, you get given this opportunity, you win yourself into a match like this, and you have a chance as equal as anyone to win this. But of course, knowing WWE, if you lose to a guy like Cena, you're not going to really rebound straight away, are you? Now, I would like to see Bray Wyatt win, but again, after what's happened, Bray Wyatt's build is a slow progression up. You know, he's getting there. Eventually, he will win the title. In fact, I said he would win the title in 2015. If I'm not mistaken. I did before say Bray will probably win in the lead up to WrestleMania, maybe, or even just after it. So overall, next year may be Bray Wyatt's year, but because he's only recently gone into main event territory with the Bryan and Cena feuds, so you want to kind of allow it to just go divulge a little bit and then rise back up towards the new year. It'll get there. Bray Wyatt is going to get the title at some point. In fact, I would have liked, everyone else has been saying this, if he was in the Money in the Bank match for the contract, he would win this no problem. And I will have to say, I'm in agreement there. I really would have liked to see Bray Wyatt win the Money in the Bank, and it would have just made a ton more sense. But it's not going to happen today. Not this one. Now, Randy Orton. Now, of course, with Daniel Bryan injured, it would seem fitting. Very fitting indeed for Randy Orton to go and win that title at the same event that he won the briefcase at a year ago, go in to face a returning, hopefully, Daniel Bryan at SummerSlam, and then Bryan can finally say, without any interference, without any bullshit, I've beaten Randy Orton, you are not as good as me, I've got my title back, the story continues as per normal. Of course, when you've got Seth Rollins in the Money in the Bank case, that would make it even more interesting, and we then get a Ring of Honor style feud going in the autumn. That sounds fantastic. However, small problem. It doesn't seem to me that this is going to happen. Now, a lot of people will be saying, hey, Fred, what you just suggested there is a wonderful idea. Why not do it? Because I don't know how healthy Daniel Bryan is. It takes a long time to recover from these injuries. I mean, hell, I didn't really think Kurt Angle was going to return from that 2003 neck injury, but lo and behold, he did really, really fast. But I know WWE doesn't want that to happen. He doesn't want to have him go in, not fully healed, and do things wrong. Sure, I'd like to see Daniel Bryan screw Orton out of it. That would actually solidify something in the future, that when he comes back, we can say, look, if you can beat me clean, you do get your title match at, say, a Night of Champions, which would actually be fitting. You know, Orton v Bryan again, to finish that at the event it started at, would be really good, with or without the title. And, you know, Orton is just there to pad out star power. He was at the top for most of the last year. From SummerSlam all the way through to WrestleMania and possibly beyond that with the Shield feud. WWE needs a break from Orton at the top, and honestly, so do we. So I would definitely say Orton's not going to win this. But then that narrows it down to two: Roman Reigns and John Cena. Now, a lot of people have been saying Cena winning is the worst possible thing. But yeah, that Brock Lesnar match, which is apparently rumoured on that leaked poster, which WWE have acknowledged, with or without the championship, that match is going to sell. There is no doubt about it. And actually, one thing interesting about that poster had no mention of the championship on either individual. So, when I look at it that way, Roman Reigns winning seems like a much better option. When you think about it. Because this, ladies and gentlemen, is interesting. You've got a new guy who has been built to the moon and back against Triple H. And you have a John Cena who won against Bray Wyatt, I'll give him that, but then winning the title for a reason to lose it to Brock Lesnar 2 months later, people won't like that. People won't like that at all. The one thing that I would like to see is that match happen against Brock Lesnar. I would like to see it. But the one thing that puts this in the corner of Roman Reigns is very simple. Think about the SummerSlam match that has been rumored, that has been thought about for a long time. Roman Reigns versus Triple H. Roman Reigns versus Triple H. Okay, think about that for a sec. Could you imagine how big that would be as a torch-sharing moment when you do have a Triple H against a young, hungry WWE champion, and he loses to Roman Reigns? And of course, you have to forget, if you have Seth Rollins with the damn briefcase, you can then set up the triple threat match between the Shield members at Night of Champions like so many have wanted to see. I mean, hell, even with this, you could set up a triple threat match for the title at SummerSlam even. And that's only if Roman Reigns wins. John Cena winning only really sets up the Lesnar match, but that can happen with or without the championship. And seeing a new guy who is being built and actually has been built, actually I would say, since before WrestleMania, you could immediately see Roman Reigns was getting more prominence when you had him go through the Royal Rumble and steamroll through it, with him steamrolling through that Survivor Series team, with him getting the pinfalls in every single match that the Shield faced in against Evolution. Think about it. Roman Reigns' rise has not been as gargantuan as people have thought. It's been one that's been behind us quite a bit, but we've noticed it. And it's the Money in the Bank. This rise has been going since, dare I say it, it's been going since October last year. This has been a slow-burning build that a lot of us really haven't seen coming because of this Shield dynamic remaining in place up until a month or so ago. And that makes this much more interesting. It means that him winning this thing would be just deserved. He's done everything. He's broken Kane's record, he's demolished an entire Survivor Series team, he's demolished Evolution and then some, and he would have so many interesting feuds. A Rollins, a Triple H, I mean, hell, even a Kane in the future too. I mean, hell, even a Daniel Bryan, if it inevitably came to that moment later on, if Rollins was involved or if Ambrose was involved, or fuck it, even a Wyatt or an Orton were involved, it could lead to a huge dynamic pool of feuds, and see, that's got more potential than John Cena winning. Now, a lot of people would say John Cena versus Lesnar for the title would be huge. Cena versus Lesnar on its own will sell, but I would think it would be better if Roman Reigns were to come out with the title. Some would say too soon, but after what I've just said, after a build that has gone for 8 solid months, making this guy look like a boss, it would be fitting if he won the title here. Then he went on against Kane at Battleground, and then he faces Triple H for the title. That's fine, because obviously, look at what Triple H will say. I wanted this match as an opportunity to bring that title back to me, and if nothing works, I'm going to have to be the one to do it. So Roman Reigns winning the title makes more sense than even I can shake a stick at. And think about the possibility of a Lesnar versus Reigns feud going into the new year and possibly WrestleMania 31 if he holds the title for that long. How good would that be? That would be amazing. So yeah, this may be a shot in the dark, but it's going to be Roman Reigns for the title for me. And there we have it, guys. My predictions are over. What are your opinions? Put your predictions in the comment section below, and I hope you have the same good feeling about this pay-per-view as I do, because it's Money in the Bank. It pretty much does a good job every year. We're going to have loads of good spots, we're going to have some good wrestling, have a few surprises chucked in for good measure. We're going to have a nice night of professional wrestling. Now, my review on Monday might be quite late. In fact, it might actually not happen for a couple of days, because on Monday and Tuesday I'm going to be moving house, so I don't think I'm going to get the review done as soon as I can, which means if it comes later in the week next week, don't worry, that's just how it is. And also, good luck to all the teams in the quarterfinal stage, in the round of 16 stage, and the quarterfinal stages, and so forth, of the World Cup, because that starts around at the time I'm finishing recording this. So, all I can say is, we're going to have a good lot of things to talk about over the next couple of days. This pay-per-view has a lot of potential, and I'm hoping it turns out good. I've been Freddie Thomas. You've been people listening. This has been my Money in the Bank 2014 predictions video, and this has been a CCWR production for the CC Network. I will see you guys next time with that review. Have a fantastic weekend, have a great time, and I'll see you then. Cheers!
Money, 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 money.